You've tuned in to Books, Business, and Beyond, a show that teaches you how to maximize your income from your book to create the lifestyle you want. Now here's your host, the international expert who loves hiking mountains and a good cup of coffee in the mornings, Shelley Hitz, and her partner in success, Kristen Eckstein.
Hi, and welcome back to Books, Business, and Beyond, the podcast that helps you build your business beyond the book. And this time, in this episode number 7, we're going to be talking about creating a Kindle series. And this is something that can really change your whole business when you really start to think bigger than just even one book. You think about the series and you think about how you can integrate that in with your business and so much else. So, Kristen, you have created a training, the Kindle Challenge, that specifically teaches authors how to create a series. So why don't you start off with some of, your advice and your tips on getting started thinking about the Kindle series?
Sure, Shelley. Thank you. And actually, from the standpoint of what the Kindle series has done for my entire business, both my book sales and everything else, let me give you a little history. I actually finished up the 3rd Kindle Challenge in October. I was only going to do 2 in 2014, and I had people banging down my door demanding a 3rd one. So I added one just on the fly. I didn't even really promote it, and we still had well over 250 people join us. So now over 800 people have actually been through this challenge. I am running it again in January. It starts January 1st, 2015, and I will be running it 5 times during 2015 just because the demand is so high. And here's why the demand is so high. When I had my own personal challenge to write a Kindle series back in fall of 2013, I wrote the Author's Quick Guide series. There's 16 books in that series. Now, I was a little nuts, and I wrote 18 total books in 18 weeks, which is completely not something I would recommend anybody who is sane do.
Yes, that is nuts.
It is completely nuts. I was majorly burned out for months afterwards. However, what the series itself did for my business and what I have seen it do for my authors that have been through the challenge has just been amazing. My passive income from my book sales alone, just my Kindle book sales, grew within the first 12 weeks of me releasing books. It grew 878%. I actually had to have a physicist figure that out for me because I didn't know how to do the math. 870%, and it stayed steady and grown ever since. Now, I'm not talking tens of thousands of dollars because there's no guru, there's gurus that'll teach that, but no honest person in their right mind is going to tell you, show you their bank account and show you those numbers. And the only person I know that actually makes that kind of money off of Kindle sales alone is Daniel Hall. And that's because he has over 2,000 books on Kindle. And they're not all his. There's a lot of public domain books that he's republished and also books by other authors because he is a publishing company. He runs a publishing company. He's not just an author himself. So he's got maybe a dozen books that are his own and the rest are other authors. So if you really want to make a killing on Kindle, you need to have several thousand books on Kindle. However, the whole point of a Kindle series is not just to sell Kindle books. In fact, that should be the last thing that you even think about. The point of the series is to set yourself up as the expert. So especially with nonfiction, because it can work for fiction and children's books as well. But really, my expertise is in nonfiction. And for nonfiction, there's nothing quite like having an entire series of books on Kindle to completely dominate Google. Because Google and Amazon love each other. Google loves Amazon so much. If you are on Amazon, then you're going to be popped up to the top of rankings of Google almost instantly, especially if you have a whole series. So last week, I actually talked about matching covers in a Kindle series when I was talking about book production secrets. And that is key. You need to have your cover designs all be synchronous throughout your entire series. But more importantly than that even is how many books you have. A lot of people are asking me, well, do I have 3, like a trilogy? Do I have 4? And really the magic number I found, and that all of my challengers have also found, is 6 to 7. So between 6 and 7 ebooks in one series, that's when you're going to see Amazon start emailing about your series. They're going to start doing the customers who bought also bought and advertising your books that way. And what's really cool to see is when you have the customers who bought also bought show up on somebody's page when they're browsing one of your books and 10 of the books in that stream are all yours. It's just really, really cool. And also to see that being emailed, because you can't pay Amazon for that kind of marketing. You can't pay them to email about your book. Believe me, I tried. They don't offer that.
And I think that this is something worth repeating because it's so powerful. Kristen just said, and I've seen it to be true too. I mean, Amazon will actually do marketing for you. When they see, you have these books, when they see people are reviewing, they're buying, and there's all these books interconnected together. You have this series, you're starting to get some, snowball effect. They will start marketing for you. And that is powerful. I mean, you are so right, Kristen. You could never pay for more powerful marketing than having Amazon do it yourself. And what a powerful way to do it in a series. Now, have you noticed a difference if you release books, real close together versus further apart or anything like that as far as the timing?
I have. We're released closer together. It definitely draws more power because you get repeat buyers who come back to buy the next one. We talked last week also about the collection mindset. The humans love to collect. So they're actively looking for that next book in the series, especially if they know it's a series. You make it very clear on Amazon that it's a series. Amazon actually has a field for that. When you set up your Kindle book, it'll say series, series title. So you put in your series title and suddenly people know, oh, this is part of this series. I wonder if there's any other books in it. And they will be looking, especially if you followed our instructions from last week's episode. So go listen to that if you haven't already, on how to produce a good quality book. And so your writing is good quality, your design and programming, all that is good quality. People are going to want to collect them all. They're going to want to buy. So they're going to be actively looking. My recommendation is one a month at bare minimum. If you can release one a month, I'm not talking huge 100,000 word books here. I'm talking like 6,000 to 10,000 words. The longest ones in my series, I've got 2 in my series that are close to 20,000 words. The rest of them are short. And that takes me to another tip. The best way to create short ebooks, there's 2 different methods that are my favorites. One is to interview somebody and transcribe it and pop it up on Kindle as an interview series. So you can do those all day long. I mean, just with this podcast, we do recordings for this podcast and we'll pop out, 4 or 5 recordings in one session. So that's 4 or 5 interviews you could do in one session with different people. And then you send those interviews as audios to a transcriptionist. You get them transcribed. And then you can take that and just put it up on Kindle as an interview book, just like this podcast. We have books on Kindle for this podcast. We will shortly, because we are putting that into the works. We're doing collections of different episodes. Since these are short 20-minute episodes, we'll collect them in groupings that make sense. Different style, different topics and things like that will be transcribed and put into collection ebooks. And that's just another way for people to digest, because not everyone listens. I learn by doing. So somebody says do something, I sit down and I do it right there on the spot. That's the easiest way for me to learn. But people learn in all different ways. Some people prefer to read, and reading an interview might reach them more than listening to a podcast or listening to the interview. And then my other favorite is what I call one question, one book. And this takes me back to short books, 6,000, 10,000 words. That seems super, super short. Kindle's minimum of 2,500 words, which I think they personally made that up for poetry, because any nonfiction book that's 2,500 words is way too short. But 6,000 to 10,000 words is perfect to answer one question and go in depth on that question. Think about this. If somebody's searching Google for how to price my book's going to show up, Author's Quick Guide to Pricing Your Book, because it's that one question that they're looking for that one answer to. It's a 99-cent Kindle book, and they're going to say, okay, so for 99 cents, I can get the answer in a book form that probably goes more in depth and answers questions I didn't even think to ask. Sign me up. And that has been my secret to being able to sell so many Kindle books and raise my passive income. I mean, it steadily grows every single month. And I don't really advertise the Author's Quick Guide series other than the occasional interview podcast I've mentioned a few times on this podcast. I have nowhere on my website where you can just buy the series. I don't even have a link to it. Now that's going to change. Hopefully that's going to change soon. But I don't really blatantly advertise. I don't market it the way that books should be marketed. And just imagine if I did, how my passive income would grow, because that collector mindset is there.
Yeah, you have so much potential untapped, but I bet a lot of your challenge attendees have went through and bought all of your books because, they come to know, like, and trust you through the challenge. And, they see you have that other training out there. It's 99 cents or $2.99 impulse buy. I'm going to get that because it's by Kristen. And so, I think, just even what you've done in the challenge has really helped, fuel some of those sales. But, one of the things that you can do once you have several books in your series is you can create book sets. And so I have done this with my different series. I have a series on gratitude, and there's 3 small ebooks. And then I grouped those 3 ebooks into a 3-book set. And then I made a bigger print book, and I had it edited, and so it flows together and all of that. But once you have the small ebooks, written and published and everything, why not capitalize on that and create some bigger book sets? And then you can, use those a little bit more creatively in your marketing. Lately, if you look, on Amazon, there's a lot of different book sets that are really rising up the ranks, and it's something that it catches people's attention. You can launch it for a lower price and then raise the price, but it's something that you can give a lot of value. And, people, instead of buying each one separately, they can get all of them for cheaper. And so that's something definitely to think about. And I know, Kristen, you had talked about doing that with your author guide, quick guide series, right?
I had talked about doing that with those, and what I decided to do was write a trilogy of showcase books instead. And if you're wondering what showcase book is, listen to episode 6 from last week, because I go a little more in depth on what that is. And so I decided not to bundle them together just because of that. That's just something that, I chose to do myself. But I highly recommend that you consider bundles. And something that, Shelley and I are working together on, and with possibly other authors, is bundling books that other people have done as well. So we'll use my publishing company that I already have set up, and we'll publish books that are basically already published, but they're going to be like 3-packs from 3 different authors. And that gives people tremendous value, plus exposes us to each other's audiences that we haven't been exposed to before.
And the great thing about that is you can include a book. If you're a fiction author, you can include the first book in your series so that if they like it, then they'll go on to buy the other books in your series, or, be able to funnel people into your email list and the products that you offer on the back end, which is one of the main things that Kristen and I are looking at with this book set, is funneling people into our back end. And that's, going beyond the book, getting new readers, new fans, and developing our platform even beyond that book series. But yeah, there's so many options with book sets. And I just recommend you kind of watch what people are doing, books that are really rising up in the rankings. And if it's a book set, kind of look at what are they doing? How are they doing it? And check it out, because it's something definitely that I think is powerful when done correctly.
And I just had a brainstorm, Shelley, that the book sets that we're doing with other authors should totally be a series all of their own. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
You can have that collect them all mentality, which be applied to book sets, which you can also do as an author. You can co-write books with other authors. You can publish books by other authors, on your Amazon account, your Kindle account. Let's say you have people, when you become published, this is going to happen. People are going to come to you and say, oh my gosh, how'd you do that? Well, if you've been through my challenge, which, by the way, the link for that, I don't think we've given it yet on this episode, is booksbusinessandbeyond.com/Kindle challenge. Kindle challenge is all one word. So booksbusinessandbeyond.com/Kindle challenge. The next challenge starts January 1st. That is our sponsor. Okay, on to what I was saying. You can actually publish other authors under your series. I did that with the 21 Ways series. It's a no fluff short books. Most of those are around 10 to 12,000 words each. They're actually in paperback and on Kindle. And those books are written mostly by other authors. I wrote 3 of the books in the series, and the rest of them are by other people. And that series actually makes me money because those authors are promoting those books. So even if they write books for other people, like Felicia Slattery just was traditionally published with her new book, Kill the Elevator Speech. And she wrote one of my 21 Ways books, and we're seeing residual income just because of her second book launch that I didn't even publish. We're making money off of it. It's great. So that's another
powerful
way that you can build out a Kindle series very quickly, is to have other people write the books for you.
Yeah, and that's just a very powerful technique, and then you become the publisher. And if you've been following us and you've been listening to our podcast, then we recommend that you set up a publishing company. So that would be an option for you. And there are just so many things that we could talk about regarding a book series. But another thing that I have found powerful is that when you have a series, then when you release a new book in the series, you can plan a promotion that not only promotes that newest book, but promotes all the rest of the books in the series. So, for instance, my husband just finished 21 Prayers of Generosity. And so we have a launch for that. And then on that same launch page, one of the books in the series is free, and all the rest of the books we lowered to 99 cents. So we're just doing a big, promotion around the launch of his book, and it gets a boost for the other books, but it also gives you something fun, and you can, it can be an event based, and you can create a special page for it. And it's just something that, once you have a series, you can cross-promote them in so many ways, not only inside the book, which we definitely recommend, but also when you're doing special book promotions and launches and so many other things, you can then have that cross-promotion going.
Shelley, that is brilliant. I love that idea. Now, I've often taught, like, when you have a next book in your series come out, let's say you're working on book 4, you're launching that one, that you put book 3 or even books 1, 2, and 3 on some sort of promotion, like a Kindle countdown deal. So you'll put them on sale for 99 cents, and then they'll slowly increase back to their original price over time. If they're not already 99 cents, you can do it that way. Or you can do a free promotion. Your first book in your series can be free. I've seen this work really well with fiction authors. Traditionally published fiction authors are now doing this all the time because it works so fantastically. They'll publish book 3 in their series, and they'll put book 1 on free, just on Kindle. And then book 2 in that series, they'll put on a countdown deal. So you can get all 3 books for like a fraction of the cost, just because their third one's regular price. But their first one's free. You can get a taste of it and then get their second one for like, $2.99 or something like that with their countdown deal. And then, of course, if you read the first one, you're probably going to be hooked. And so you're going to go ahead and buy that third one.
Yes. And I've seen this work well, too. I have a fiction author friend that I saw recently did the same thing. It was a second book in a series, but her first book was free. And then the second book, she lowered it, during the launch. But what it was doing is it was feeding the engine. And then she had a whole separate fiction series that it was also cross-promoting that series. And she did really, really well. And it was just, I like to think of feeding the engine, putting fuel on the fire, basically. Because sometimes, your book sales can start to dwindle, and you think, okay, how can I jumpstart that a little bit? And sometimes when you then have a special promotion and you're able to bring, you have a new book in the series, or you're doing a special on one of the books, then you can actually add fuel to the fire to increase the sales of all the rest of the books. So it's so powerful.
It really is. And, this has been such an amazing episode full of tips and strategies. And I'm sure our listeners, readers and listeners have been taking notes. Shelley, do you have any other last tidbits about creating a Kindle series? I mean, you've got several series out yourself. So any last tip that you have?
If you don't have a series yet, start planning it.
Yes. Plan it. Join the challenge.
Yes.
Get it on. I mean,
and if you already have a series, keep writing in that series until it's finished, and then start your next one.
That's right. There's no reason why you can't do more than one series. Exactly. A lot of our challenge members are doing tons of different series. So yeah, there is no reason. I mean, once again, try to strive for that 6 to 7 book mark in each series that you do, and you will see more traction if you complete one series before you jump into another one. I have a lot of clients that want to go back and forth, coaching clients that are like, yeah, but I'm bored with this one. But you're not going to see that traction that's going to give you excitement and energy until you get several books in the series out. So that's my last tip for you, is focus on your first Kindle series. Get that series done, get it launched as quickly as possible. 1 a month at bare minimum. You could do 2 a month is what I really recommend. Or at least 1 every 3 weeks would be good. And once again, these are short. We're talking like maybe 5 articles that you would write, not very long books. and then, release them quickly. You can write all of them if you want up front and then release them quickly. But I recommend releasing them as you write them, just because it gives you more momentum and it shifts your mindset into, oh, I can actually do this. You get more accomplished. And then start planning your next series, as Shelley said. I mean, do it. There is no reason why you shouldn't be writing a whole series for Kindle. So once again, if you'd like to go join the challenge, it does start January 1st, and go to booksbusinessandbeyond.com/Kindle challenge. There will be a coupon code on that page that you can use to get a discount. So, because we will still have a discount for the next few days, probably through Christmas. And everyone have an amazing rest of your day. And thank you to my co-host, Shelley. And I guess I'm your co-host today, Shelley. So and we're so excited to be able to have you guys take action. And, even with holidays happening and the end of the year, start planning out so you can start 2015 off with a major bang and a major boost in your pocketbook.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time on Books, Business, and Beyond podcast.
You've been listening to Books, Business, and Beyond, the show that teaches you how to maximize your income from your book to create the lifestyle you want. Visit your host, international best-selling author Shelley Hitz, and her partner in success, Kristen, the Book Ninja Eckstein, at booksbusinessandbeyond.com and grab your free gift today. Tune in next time for more ways to diversify your income beyond the book, and don't miss a single episode. Subscribe to this podcast on iTunes.